Donation Store is a self-hosted web store and help desk for game servers. It automates game server payments for you so you can focus on the most important thing, running your server. You probably already know what Donation Store is, but if not, please check out our website in the link below. We've done our best to make installing Donation Store as easy as possible so you can get set up quickly and start accepting payments. This video will go through how to install Donation Store and also how to get it up and running. Hi, my name is Mark Barrett and I'm the owner and lead developer at Donation Store. This video is aimed at showing you how to install, set up and configure your first web store. So to do that, we're going to cover the following: how to download Donation Store, how to install it on your server, how to get an SSL certificate, how to start your first web store, how to set up a payment gateway, and also we're going to do some configuration along the way that will also add some other cool things to your web store. There are install guides in text form in our docs section of our site if you prefer that instead. The link will be below for those. Anyway, let's get into it. Installing Donation Store as easy as possible. Originally with version 2.1 there was just you would download all the files and configure everything yourself. However, with version 2.2 we've included a setup.py script that does all that for you. It sets up your environment and runs Donation Store and your database, so you can then just visit the install URL and continue with setting up your first account and your first web store and stuff like that. So you can download that setup.py file from the license section of your account on the Donation Store website. And when you have it, just paste it into your home directory. So I'm on a Ubuntu server, that's one of the requirements. Just paste it into the home directory, as you can see it's there, and then get ready to run it. So you do need Python 2.7 to run it, and you can get that by just typing sudo apt update. And this will take a lot less time for me because I already have most of this installed. And then type sudo apt upgrade. Again, it'll take a lot less time for me. And then sudo apt install Python 2.7 and Python pip. Again, already installed, so it'll take virtually no time for me. And then once I have that installed, I can check by just running Python. You can see it's Python 2.7.17. I'll just quit this, and then when I'm ready to go, just type in python setup.py, and then it'll give you an option as to what you want to do. We want to set up, so type in setup, and then you can choose proceed or cancel. This will use Nginx and gUnicorn. It's the recommended software for this, so just continue with that, with proceed. Enter your license key there, and what it will do is it'll download the latest version of Donation Store onto your server. So we'll just say continue with a Y. And it will unzip it and do all the stuff it needs to do, install dependencies, install application dependencies and all that. All you have to do is just keep pressing yes until you're prompted with a message about Nginx. So this can take some time, and as this is the first time it's being installed on the machine, I'm just going to cut to the next part, which will be shortly. This step, it'll ask you for an IP address, which is going to be used to configure Nginx. So don't worry, this IP address won't be used in future. We're going to change this. This is just purely for the install and for setting up. So I'm just going to paste the IP address of my server right in there and press enter. It'll continue doing some setup, and then it asks me would I like to connect to database. So it says that the database must already exist. If it's MySQL or Postgres, you must have a database stored somewhere, and you'll be asked for credentials for that. But if it's SQLite, it will go ahead and create it for you. So you just type yes. You can choose your database, so I'm going to type in SQLite, and just to note, if you choose no, it won't set up the database for you if you want to do something else, but you will have to manually configure it like it says in the docs. So type in SQLite, and now it's going to run through all of the migration files that are associated with Donation Store and apply them to the database. This basically means that it's going to create all the tables that it's necessary for the application to run, and this again will take some time. So once it's done, I'll cut to that. So see you in a second. So once that's complete, you can now see that it says Service Donation Store start, stop and restart. That's the command you can use to start, stop and restart Donation Store and all of its dependencies in one command. So if you make any changes to the code or anything like that, you'll have to restart it that way. But all we have to do next to continue the install is just visit our the install location in our browser. So as you can see, I have it open here, and it'll just welcome you to the install. You can read through the EULA, agree and continue, and then this is where you have to activate your license. So just paste the license you received, the one we put in the install here, set up, and now we just have to set up an account. So I'm just going to set up a quick account. I'll just give it a random password. There we go. So then it'll tell you to use an SSL certificate. We will go through that, but for this video, we're just going to skip this for the moment. So this is the SMTP information that you have to provide, and it'll allow Donation Store to send emails on your behalf to customers about their payments and stuff like that. So the next step is about Donation Store Analytics. So we really suggest that you do share analytics. We do collect a little bit of data if you let us. As you can see, there is a link to show you exactly what we do collect, but it allows us to provide a more secure platform. So we can give better predictions on chargeback rates, and also we can ban users globally and then see if they have bad reputation across the entire network. So I'm just going to say yes to this, and then the install is complete. So now all we can do is just log in. So I'll use the information I previously gave. And now we get to this screen. So you probably want to set up a web store now, which we can, but what we have to do is configure the subdomain. So most server owners won't like the fact that you have to visit an IP address like this. What we can do is we can provide a subdomain which we can use instead. So what we're going to do is go back to our terminal and open up the file in etc nginx sites available and Donation Store. As you can see, the server block is currently listening on this IP address, but what we can do is we can change this to a subdomain, store.donationstore.io. Don't change anything else. We can still proxy pass to this IP address, but what we do have to do is we need to make another header, just the host header, and set it to the server name. Save it, and then quickly just restart Nginx. You can now navigate back to here, and instead of having your IP address, you can now put in your subdomain that we just set, store.donationstore.io. Now, depending on how long it takes to propagate, you do need to point this to the server. It could take a couple of minutes, but if it doesn't show straight away, give it a couple of minutes and then come back. So what we're going to do is create a web store just to run through some of the basics. So let's just call it MC Toolbox, or Tower rather. Let's use a subdomain, the one we entered, which is store.donationstore.io. It's an online Minecraft store. The admin email can be mark@donationstore. And the reCAPTCHA information, we can leave that the way it is for the minute. I'd suggest setting that up, going to that documentation link and reading it. It's for the support tickets so that people have to verify each request they make. Create the store, and then we can view the web store. So nothing has really changed yet. We need to go into Manage Store and set up some stuff. So along the side here, you have all the features of Donation Store, the discounts, the webhooks, fraud, settings, statistics. But what we want to do, this is just a high level overview. There will be other videos that go through each in a lot more detail. We just want to go to Web Store. And what we can do is we can update some of the settings. There's quite a few bits and bobs here that you can look through yourself, but I'm just going to update a few things. So I'm just going to add a store logo. You can change the default language of the store. You can change the default currency, the template. I'm just going to give a hello world as a homepage message, and these are terms and conditions. Payment complete page. You can do all of this yourself, and just click update settings. And now if we go to view web store, you can see the logo's changed, and so is our information. And these are the terms and conditions, all that sort of stuff. We can change the currency on the right, update the language on the bottom. But next, what we're going to do is create a server. So before we can start creating packages, you have to create a server. So let's just call this example server. And this server, you can see get secret key. This has a secret key that you'll use to connect the plugin, which we can show you later. But now that means we can go and create some packages. So let's just say example category. This is an example category. Let's give it an image. Let's just use the logo. Obviously you can use whatever you want. Category status is enabled. And then with the create package, we can create a package by simply typing in example package, the price, let's say 10, the category, we call it example category, the server we want it to execute on, enable the package, and we can also put in the commands. So give, let's say, username, so it'll be whoever's buying it, I don't know, Diamond Block 64, and then say submit, and it'll take a second. So it's being kind of slow. Let me just refresh that. And there we go. So it's been created, and now if I just view, I can log in with my username, and as you can see, the package is there. I didn't add a picture. I should probably do that. Let me add a picture. I got a picture of a cow here. Let's add that. Submit. And then you can see there's the cow. We can add it to our cart. And that's pretty much it for that. We can add a gateway as well. So obviously here's the different gateways we support. I'm just going to use PayPal for an example and put in the donation store PayPal address. We can also add different things like an amount offset and basket limits and stuff like that. But for now, we're just going to install PayPal. And then once we do that, you can see it's now an option. We can fill in some of these details. Example Street, example Dublin, Ireland. Click PayPal because you want to use PayPal, and then click purchase, and it will then continue to PayPal, and we continue. I'm not going to do it here because this is a live transaction on, just for the purpose of this video, this is just an install guide. However, in future videos we will go through each of the features individually, but for now that's pretty much the install on the web store side of things. And yeah, so next we are going to show you how to set up an SSL certificate for your server. Certificate is pretty easy. If you use Cloudflare, you don't really have to do this step. They provide SSL certificates, but if not, we're going to use Let's Encrypt to generate a free certificate. So first off, what you need to do is you need to check if Git is installed. So what we have to do is just say sudo apt install Git. As you can see, it's already installed. And then what we have to do is just change directory into donation store env. Sorry, home donation store env. Next, we need to actually get Let's Encrypt. So we can just clone their repository by saying git clone github.com/let's encrypt /let's encrypt, and it'll clone Let's Encrypt into this folder. And once it does that, we can now cd into Let's Encrypt and then type Let's Encrypt auto -- help. So what that's going to do is it's going to do a lot of installing and setting up. So I'm going to cut to when that's done, and we can continue with the install. And what we have to do now is actually generate the certificate. So because Nginx is our web server, we just need to type service nginx stop just to stop the server, and then we need to type Let's Encrypt auto cert only standalone -d, and then the domain we entered, so store.donationstore.io. This will then ask us some questions. So what email do you want to be emailed about? We recommend putting this in because if it expires, they'll send you a notification. Agree, sure, why not? And it'll obtain a new certificate for us. And then once that's done, it'll tell us congratulations, and we now have the certificate. We now need to make some small changes to our Nginx configuration just so we can start accepting. There we go. There's an email from the people at Let's Encrypt. So I just need to go ahead and open up my Nginx config to make some changes there to allow me to actually use these certs. So I'm just going to open up the configuration in here. And what I need to do is I need to tell the server to not listen on 80, which is the default. I need to listen on 443, which is the port for SSL. I then need, the domain is fine. I then need to specify where the SSL certificate is. So it's SSL certificate. It's in etc let's encrypt live, and then the domain we entered. So donation.store or store.donationsstore.io. And then we're going to put /fullchain.pem semicolon. And then the next one is SSL certificate key, which is the same location. Let's encrypt, yeah, live store.donationstore.io, and we need to add privkey.pem, so the private key. So that's pretty much it for this server block. The only thing we need to add now is we need to add another server block that listens for connections on port 80, which is an unsecured port, HTTP. So that's server. So we come down outside of this server block and just type in listen on port 80. And what we want to do is server name is store.donationstore.io. So it will listen for requests on port 80, which is HTTP, to that subdomain. And what we want to do is type return 301, which is a redirect HTTP code, and we want to redirect them to HTTPS, which is the secure version, with the host variable and the request URI variable. That's it. And then we can just save that, and then service nginx restart. And now when we go to Safari, if we refresh, you can now see it changed from insecure to secure, and you can see that we have successfully generated a SSL certificate. So that pretty much covers everything we're going to go through with installing the application. Keep an eye out on this YouTube channel, as there's going to be a lot more videos about different features within Donation Store. We plan to have videos that goes through, everything from making variables to gift cards and going through each payment gateway. But just keep an eye on this channel. We'll update and upload as many as we can whenever we have the spare time. So that's pretty much it. Again, if you need any support with this, please do not hesitate to reach out. As you can see, this is our link for support. Just open a ticket and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.